At this moment in economics class, we shall be looking at production theory 1. Under production theory 1, we want to look at scale of production. This is the group of a firm as a result of the expansion of the volume of productive capacity, leading to the increase in the output with a decrease in its cost of production per unit of output. So when we are talking about scale of production, we can also call it economies of scale. Now, we are trying to look at the growth of a firm. And when we are trying to look at the growth of a firm, we look at the productive capacity of the firm in relation to the output that the firm is able to bring out, as well as the cost per unit of what the firm is bringing out. So for us to say a firm is growing, then the firm needs to ensure that there is an increase in productive capacity. And an increase in productive capacity is implied that we are having increase in output. Now, not only that, we want to ensure that there is a decrease in the cost per unit of the output. So if a firm can have increase in output as well as decrease per cost of the output, then the firm is experiencing what we call growth, that we call scale of production or economies of scale. Types of scale of production. Number 1, internal scale of production. We can also call it internal economies of scale. Number 2, external scale of production, which is also known as the external economies of scale. We are going to look at the two types now. Number 1, internal economy of scale. These are the advantages which a firm derives as a result of its increase in size and expansion of its outputs, leading to greater efficiency and resulting to fall in the cost per unit of output. Now, when we are talking about internal economies of scale, we are looking at the single effort of a firm toward increase in its size, expansion of its output. If you can have increase in size and expansion of output, then we are expecting such to lead to a greater efficiency. And once there is a greater efficiency in the activities of a firm, we expect a fall in the cost per unit of its output. So by having this, it implies internal economies of scale. So every firm will be working toward increase in size. Not only that, expansion of its output. If these two can occur, the firm will also be working toward what we call efficiency. And once there can be efficiency in what a firm is doing, firm will also see that there is a fall in the cost per unit, so that more quantity can be produced and supply the markets. But a situation where a firm is having an increase in size, lesser expansion of output, but there is no efficiency what the firm is doing. So far there is no efficiency in it, definitely there may be an increase in the cost per unit. Therefore, we call it internal economy of scale. That is, if a firm is experiencing internal diseconomy of scale, the firm might have increase in size, but the output might not increase because there is no efficiency into what they are doing that can lead to a fall in cost per unit. So when a firm is having increase in cost per unit, then the firm is experiencing what we call internal economies of scale. Advantages of internal economies of scale. Number 1, financial economics. What do you mean by financial economy in relation to internal economies of scale? If a firm is able to have assets toward funds in order to expand, then the firm is having what we call financial economy of scale. Not only that, if a firm is able to have cheaper rate of taking loan from banks, the firm will be able to acquire large quantity of raw materials that can be used toward production of goods and services. in that case, the firm is having what we call financial economies of scale. But a situation where a firm finds it difficult to have access to funds or getting loan at an affordable rate, that is, lower rate of interest rate. If a firm is having a problem in that, then the firm is having what we call financial diseconomy. That is, the firm will be producing goods and services at an increasing cost per unit. That is not what we want in economy of scale. We call it internal diseconomy of scale because the firm will not have access to funds. Not only that, could not get funds at cheaper rate, in terms of interest rate, in buying bulk materials. Number two, marketing economics. When you say marketing economies of scale, it's an advantage for a firm, that is internal economy of scale. The ability of a firm to buy raw material in bulk at cheaper rates. By doing that, more inputs will be available for the firm to produce more output. So if they can buy material at cheaper rate, then production will increase at higher rate. But if a firm finds it difficult to acquire materials to be used for production at cheaper rate, then the firm will be experiencing what we call marketing diseconomy. That is, the cost per unit of the firm output is increasing because the firm could not have access in buying bulk raw material at cheaper rates. Number three, risk-bearing economies. We understand that in every business there is risk. Now, a firm can bear a risk, then the firm should be able to diversify, that is, ability to spread its risk. By doing that, the firm will have lower risk bearing. But the firm finds it difficult to spread its risk, then the firm will be experiencing what we call risk-bearing diseconomies, because the firm is just in one line and find it difficult to spread its risk. So in that case, the firm will find it difficult to grow. If care is not taken, the firm might be out of the business. Number four, administrative economies. And when we are talking about administrative economy, ability of a firm to employ experts to handle the administrative aspect, that is, in terms of a specialization, having appropriate or competent people to handle key areas of its organization. So if a firm can have that, then they will have what we call administrative economy. But if a firm cannot employ competent people, skillful ones, to handle the strategic area of the organization, then the firm will find it difficult to move forward and they may experience what we call administrative diseconomy. That is, the firm will be having increase, that there will be lack of efficiency in that firm. Because of what? Because they fail to have competent and skillful people that can handle the strategic department or areas of the organization. Number five, research economies. And when we are talking about research economy, ability of a firm to spend or to carry out research, it is spending on research in order to discover new things that can move the organization forward in terms of meeting their customers' need. So if a firm can carry out research, then there is research economy in such firm. But if a firm finds it difficult to carry out research in finding new things that the customer, their existing customer and potential customer can buy, then the firm will be experiencing what we call research diseconomy. Then the last one is technical economics. And when we are talking about technical economy, we are talking about a situation where a firm is able to discover new technology towards improving its activity. That is, ability to discover a new technology whereby little input will be used and result to larger output. So in that case, there is technical economy. But a situation where a firm finds it difficult to use little input that can bring larger output, that is, using larger input resulting to a few output, then the firm is experiencing what we call technical diseconomy. All these are the advantages of internal economy of scale. Don't forget that we said internal economy is talking about the single effort of a firm toward its increase in size as well as the expansion of its output in order to see that there is a fall in the cost per unit, that we can say there is a greater efficiency in such firm. So if a firm is able to have all this, then truly there is internal economy of scale. But if firm fail to have all the advantages that we have mentioned, the one way or the other, the firm is facing what we call internal diseconomy of scale. External economy of scale. These are the advantages a firm enjoys from increase in its output and a fall in cost due to assistance it obtains from other firms within the same location or industry. Now, apart from the single effort of a firm toward its activity, every firm can also derive advantages within the location of the industry. What we're trying to understand here is that apart from your own efforts, there are other advantages you can derive. So if a firm can enjoy from other firms, then the firm is enjoying what we call external economies of scale. So because if these other firms are not there, the firm might not move forward. But with the assistance of other firms, it makes the firm to move forward. So it have increase in its size, likewise increase in their output, that brings about a fall in the cost per unit. So if we can have that, we call it external economy of scale. But a situation where a firm is having a problem due to the location of the firm or the location of the industry, then the firm is having what we call external diseconomy of scale. That the firm is trying its possible best to see that there is greater efficiency into what it's doing, into what the firm is doing. But a situation where other firms are not contributing toward the success of the firm, then it becomes external diseconomy of scale. But for us to look into the advantages and disadvantages of external economy of scale, we would like to discuss this under localization of industry. After examining economic of scale, and we have said we have two types: internal economics of scale and external economics of scale. But we won't be able to finish external now because we like to look at the advantages and disadvantages of economic of scale under localization of industry in order to treat that properly. But we would like to move forward looking into production function. What do you mean by production function? Production function. This shows the technical relationship between the physical inputs and physical outputs of a firm. So what we're trying to understand here is that we are looking at the relationship between the inputs that we want to use towards the commodity and the commodity that we produce in a firm. So that's what production function is talking about. And production function, production depends on factors of production. And what are the factors of production? We have land, we have labor, we have capital, and we have the entrepreneur that will coordinate all these factors of production. So we are talking about production function. So that is production depends on factors of production. And what are the factors of production? They are land, labor, capital, and entrepreneur. Now, production function is into two types. Number one, short-term production function. Two, long-run production function. These two types, we are going to look at them in detail. But for this moment, we'll be looking at short-run production function, where we'll be examining what we call concept of productivity. What is short-run in economics? What is short-run in economics? Short-run indicates a period where there are at least fixed inputs, while other inputs are variable. So in economics, When we are talking about short-term period, it implies a period where at least there is a fixed input working together with variable input in order to produce a commodity. So what we are trying to understand here is that when a firm is newly established, the firm cannot be thinking of increasing input anyhow. But among the firm input, one will be fixed while others will be variable. When we are talking about fixed input, we are talking about input that will not have anything with the level of output. But we are talking about variable input. We are talking about inputs that have to do with the level of output. The more your variable input, the more your output. But fixed inputs are constant because they do not have anything to do with the level of output when a firm is still in short run period. Short run production concepts. The first one, total products. It is the total quantity of a commodity produced at a specific time as a result of combination of inputs. So when we are talking about total product of a firm, in short run, we understand that in short run there are two groups of inputs: fixed inputs, variable inputs. Right? Now, when we are trying to know the total product, it implies that we have to look at the number of outputs that a given input is able to produce. So when we sum it up within a particular or at a particular time, then we are talking about total products. So that's why I said as a result of combination of input, that is the fixed input and variable input. When we put them together, they bring out an output. So when we sum up all the outputs gotten with a given level of input, we have total products. Number 2, average products. This is the output per unit of variable input employed. That is, the total output produced divided by variable input used. Mathematically, average product equal total product divided by number of variable inputs. And when we're talking about variable input, the variable input can be labor or capital. But why we are talking about fixed input, mostly we have it to the land. So the only variable that we can vary among the input that we use toward production is what we call variable input that can either be labor or capital. So we are trying to look at what the average product with respect to the variable input. So that's why I call it average product to be the output per unit of the variable input employed. Number 3, marginal product. Marginal product is the change in total output due to change in the variable input employed. And everyone would like to understand or be aware of what is going on in the organization between a period and another period. That is there any increase in the output between period A and period B or between period B and period C? So that's what marginal product implies. That if I want to know that when we employ from 1 person to 2 to 3 persons, what is the change in the output from 1 person to 2 persons to 3 persons? Is there an increase in the output when additional input were used or not? So that's why we call it marginal product. Okay, mathematically, changes in total product divided by changes in variable input. So as I said earlier, that variable input can either be labor or capital. So if there's an increase in capital, which is variable input, the firm wants to know if there's an increase in output, or if there's an increase in labor. The firm wants to know if there's an increase in their output. So that's what marginal product implies. I've demonstrated the concepts: total product, average product, marginal product. We want to use this table to further our analysis. Take for instance, we have number of workers. That is a variable input, which implies that land and capital are constant, they are fixed input. So worker is an example of a variable input. So if worker implies variable input, a worker being employed produce 10 units of an output. The average is going to be 10 because we divide it by 1, that is total product, divided by units will give us 10. Now, for our marginal products, the marginal product will still be 10 because there is nothing like previous output. Now, having employed 2 workers, something will change in that organization. So let's assume when second worker is employed, the total product now becomes 50. What's going to be the average product? That is, average product equal total product divided by number of workers, the number of variable input. So from our table, it's going to be 50 divided by 2, we have 25. Now, how do we get our marginal product? I would say marginal product implies change in total product divided by change in variable input. If you look at it very well, there is a change from here down to here. Now, with respect to total product, change from here to this place. That is, from 1 worker to 2 workers, output has increased from 10 to 50 units. So the change here will now be 40. The firm further is its production. Additional worker making to be what? 3 workers. Now, when 3 workers are used towards production of a particular commodity, 60 units were produced. What is going to be the average? 60 divided by 3 will give us 20. That is, output per unit of the variable input, which is worker, happens to be what? 20. Now, what is going to be the marginal product? That is, the change between the second and the third. That is, the change between when 2 workers were employed and 3 workers were employed. And it's going to be the change between 50 and 60, which is 10. So there is an increase by what? By 10. There is an increase by 10. 50 to 60 give us 10 to be the marginal product. When we have 4 workers, that is additional worker from 3 workers to 4 workers, the total product happens to be 100 units. And what's going to be the average product? 100 divided by 4, we have 25. Now, what's going to be the marginal product? The change from 50 to 100 as a result of the changes in the worker from 3 to 4 is going to be 40 as well. Now, when we have the 5th worker, what happened? When we employ the 5th worker, the total product happens to be 90. What is going on here? You observe that when 4 workers were used towards a particular production of a particular group, 100 units were produced. But now that there are 5, you'll be expecting the total product to increase. You'll be expecting the total product to increase. But we have a decrease in the total product for one reason or the other. But we cannot explain it here until when we get to the next level. So, meaning that when 5 workers were used towards a particular production of a good, 90 happens to the total product. What is going to be the average product? We divide 90 by 5. Here we have 1. In 40, we have 8. What is the change? It's going to be minus 10. Because there's a decrease in total product from 100 to 90. Now, we further our variable input to 6 workers. When 6 workers are used, the total product happens to be what? 4. So it implies that there is a decrease in total product again. But what is going to be our average product first? That is 84 divided by 6. Here, 1. We have 2 left in 24, 4. Right? So what is the change between the 5th worker and the 6th worker? We have negative to be 6. This is the analysis with respect to short-run production concept. In our next class, we are going to look at the graphical aspects concerning this. But then it's going to be law of variable proportion that will be examined. This law of variable proportion is talking about short-run production function. So after that, we can also look at the long-run production function. Examples. Question 1. The average product of labor in a given period is obtained by dividing the number of workers by the number of products. B, total product by the number of hours actually worked. C, total product by the number of workers. D, none of the above. The right answer is C, total product by the number of workers. Question 2. Development outside a given firm which reduces the firm's cost are called A, internal economics, B, external economics, C, external diseconomics, D, optimum effects. The right answer is B, external economics. Question 3. A firm enjoying economies of scale is said to be A, reducing average cost as production increases. B, benefiting from the activities of other firms. C, maximizing profit as production increases. D, having an upward sloping average cost curve. The right answer is A, reducing average cost